Silence before the shock. The Galactic Empire ruled space for thousands of years. Its borders stretched across countless star systems. Their fleets were strong, their weapons feared, and their sensors unmatched. No ship could move without the Empire knowing. In a quiet region of space, an Imperial patrol fleet guarded a major trade route. This route supplied energy and resources to many core worlds. The patrol commander, Admiral Karth, stood on the bridge, calm and confident. Nothing unusual ever happened here. The sensor officers reported the same message again and again. No movement detected, no signals, no threats. Space was silent, dark, and empty, just as it had been for years. The Empire believed humans were finished, once dangerous, once clever, but now forgotten. Old records spoke of human wars and strange ideas, but the Empire had crushed them long ago, or so they believed. Admiral Karth allowed himself a small smile. This duty was easy, boring even. He turned to his officers and spoke calmly. Maintain formation and continue scanning. Then something strange happened. Not a sound, not a warning. Space itself seemed to twist, just for a moment. The sensors showed nothing, yet every officer felt it. A young sensor officer frowned at his screen. He adjusted the settings, then checked again. Admiral, I am reading nothing, but something feels wrong. Karth looked up, suddenly alert. Before anyone could react, reality broke. A massive human warship appeared from nothing. No jump flash, no warp trail, no energy surge. 1 second space was empty. The next second it was not. The bridge fell silent. The human ship was enormous, dark, and calm. Its surface was smooth, covered in faint blue lights. It did not move. It did not fire. It only existed. Identify that ship, Admiral Karth ordered sharply. The computers searched every database, every record. No match was found. No warning appeared. It was as if the ship had never traveled at all. The Empire fleet tried to lock weapons. Targeting systems failed again and again. The human ship did not appear as an enemy or a target. It was simply there, untouchable. Fear spread quietly across the bridge. Officers whispered, hands shaking. How did it get here? One asked. No detection, no signal. Another replied. The human warship finally moved, just slightly. Its lights shifted, glowing brighter. Small drones exited the hull. Floating silently, they scanned the Empire ships without hostility. Admiral Karth felt something new. Not anger, not pride, but fear. This was not an attack. This was a message. The human ship sent no words, no threat, yet its presence spoke clearly. The Empire had not detected it because it had not arrived. It had simply appeared. Across the fleet, alarms began to fail. Jump drives refused to activate. Communication channels filled with static. The Empire fleet was trapped. The human warship remained silent, patient, controlled, powerful, as if it had waited a long time for this moment. As if humanity had been watching all along. Admiral Karth stared at the massive ship, his confidence shattered. The silence was heavier than any explosion, and deep inside, he understood the truth. The Empire had detected nothing until it was already too late. Panic inside the Empire fleet. The silence did not last long. Fear moved faster than sound across the Imperial fleet. Officers shouted orders, hands shaking as they tried to regain control. Screens flashed with errors and warnings that made no sense. Admiral Karth stood frozen for a moment, staring at the human warship. Then he slammed his fist on the command console. All ships, battle readiness now, he ordered. His voice was strong, but doubt hid beneath it. Weapon officers tried to lock targets. Again and again, the systems failed. The human warship did not appear as hostile, friendly, or neutral. It appeared as nothing at all. This is impossible, a weapons officer whispered. Our sensors cannot see it, but our eyes can. The bridge crew exchanged fearful looks. Empire technology had never failed like this before. The human ship remained still. No weapons fired, no engines flared. It hovered calmly, like a predator that knew its prey could not escape. The calm was terrifying. Suddenly, small human drones moved closer. They drifted between Imperial ships with perfect control. Their lights scanned hulls, weapons, and engines. No damage was done, yet every scan felt like a threat. An Imperial captain lost his nerve. Without orders, his ship fired a full energy blast. The beam struck the human warship directly, and then nothing happened. The blast vanished, absorbed like light into darkness. The human ship did not even move. The bridge fell silent again. Fear turned into pure panic. Before Admiral Karth could react, the human warship responded, not with weapons, but with control. A wave of energy spread across space, invisible but absolute. One by one, Imperial ships lost power, engines shut down, weapons went offline, shields collapsed without warning. The fleet was helpless. Jump drives are not responding, a navigation officer shouted. We cannot escape. Communication channels filled with overlapping panic. Every ship was trapped in the same invisible cage. The human warship finally sent a signal. It was not a threat, not a command, just a simple pulse of data. Calm and clear. A message every system could understand. The message carried only one meaning. Remain still, do not resist, observe. Admiral Karth felt his pride break. The Galactic Empire, ruler of stars, was being held without a single shot. This was not war. This was dominance. Officers watched as more human ships flickered into existence nearby, smaller than the first, but just as silent. They appeared the same way, without warning, without travel. Space itself betrayed the Empire. The fleet realized a terrible truth. Humans had mastered a form of movement beyond detection. They did not cross space, they replaced it. Panic spread beyond the fleet. Emergency signals were sent to the Empire core worlds. Messages filled with fear and confusion. The humans are back, they warned. The human ships did not attack. They waited, they watched, as if judging the Empire's next move. Admiral Karth lowered himself into his command chair, sweat cold on his skin. The silence returned, heavier than before, and he understood something that changed everything. This fleet was not destroyed because humans wanted fear to spread. They wanted the galaxy to watch. They wanted the Empire to understand that humans had never left, and this was only the beginning. Humans were watching all along. The human warships remained silent. They did not attack. They did not threaten. They only observed. Admiral Karth tried to understand what he was seeing. His fleet was frozen in space, powerless and exposed, yet the humans showed no rush, no anger, only calm control. Inside the human flagship, machines worked quietly. Artificial minds processed data at impossible speed. Every Empire ship, weapon, and signal was analyzed. Humans had prepared for this moment for a very long time. Long ago, when the Galactic Empire expanded rapidly, humans learned a painful lesson. Open war against a larger empire meant extinction, so they chose patience. Human scientists stopped chasing bigger guns. Instead, they studied space itself. They learned how reality bends, how distance lies, and how observation could become a weapon. For decades, then centuries, human probes watched from hidden points. They learned empire tactics, politics, and weaknesses. Every movement was recorded, every mistake remembered. The warship now holding the Empire fleet was proof of that work. It did not travel using warp or jump drives. It folded space and replaced one location with another. That was why no sensors detected it. Admiral Karth listened as his officers whispered theories. Each explanation sounded more terrifying than the last. If humans could appear anywhere, then no Empire system was safe. A new signal reached the fleet, clear, calm, and human. It was not a demand. It was a statement. We have been watching, the message said. Your empire expanded without limit. You ignored warnings and crushed weaker species. That age is ending. The message spread quickly across Empire space. Command centers struggled to respond. Old beliefs shattered in seconds. Humans were not extinct. Across hidden colonies and deep space stations, human leaders observed the reaction. They did not celebrate. They calculated. The warship released more drones, not for attack, but for mapping. Trade routes, military positions, and defense grids were scanned. The humans were not starting a war. They were positioning for control. Carefully, quietly, just as they always had. Admiral Karth finally understood the truth. The humans had never disappeared. They had stepped back into the shadows, waiting for the Empire to overreach. The silence returned once more, but it no longer felt empty. It felt watched. Every star, every system, every fleet, the Galactic Empire had ruled through fear and power. Humans ruled through patience and knowledge, and now, those centuries of watching had ended. The moment to act had arrived. The human warship powered down its drones, still holding the Empire fleet in place, still saying nothing more, because nothing else was needed. Admiral Karth closed his eyes, his pride gone, his confidence broken. The Empire had not seen this coming. Humans had been watching all along, and the galaxy was about to change forever. One warship versus an empire. Fleet. The Galactic Empire could not accept the silence any longer. Fear turned into anger across command channels. Pride demanded action, even if logic warned against it. The Empire had ruled too long to back down now. Admiral Karth received a direct order from the core worlds. Test the human ship. Force a response. The Empire needed proof that the humans could bleed. Even one damaged human ship would restore confidence. Weapons officers rerouted power manually. Old systems, not fully locked by human control, flickered to life. A single Imperial cruiser broke formation. Its captain chose sacrifice over humiliation. The cruiser fired everything it had. Energy beams, missiles, and kinetic rounds crossed space together. The attack was desperate and uncontrolled. A storm of fire meant to overwhelm. The human warship moved for the first time. Not fast, not dramatic, just precise. Space folded around its hull, and the attacks passed through empty distance. The Imperial cruiser vanished, not destroyed, not exploding, simply removed from space, as if it had never existed. Shock paralyzed the Empire fleet. No debris, no energy spike, only silence where a warship once stood. Fear turned into terror. The human warship finally responded fully. Its surface lights shifted from blue to white. Weapons did not fire outward. They reached inward, across the Empire fleet. Systems shut down again. Not roughly, not violently, but completely. Every ship became blind, deaf, and powerless. Then the human warship released its first strike. A focused pulse of energy swept across the fleet. Ships were disabled one by one. Engines frozen, weapons sealed, hulls intact. This was not destruction. This was control. The humans were showing restraint. And that restraint was terrifying. Empire officers watched helplessly, their strongest fleet reduced to drifting metal. Centuries of dominance ended in minutes, without a real battle. Admiral Karth realized the truth, too late. This was never a fight. It was a demonstration. A lesson written across space. More human warships appeared. Not hundreds, not thousands, just enough. Each one silent, calm, and untouchable. They surrounded the Empire fleet from all directions, forming a perfect sphere of control. There was no escape, no resistance left to attempt. A final human message arrived, clear and cold. This ends now. Stand down. Across the fleet, Imperial captains complied. Weapons powered down fully. Command channels went quiet. The Empire had been defeated without a war. Admiral Karth stared at the human ships. Understanding settled heavily in his chest. Humans did not fight to win battles. They fought to end wars before they began. The galaxy watched in silence. Every empire, every species, every ruler. They saw the impossible made real. One human warship standing above an empire, and they understood the message clearly. If humans chose war, no fleet would survive, and no warning would ever come. The balance shifts across the galaxy. The defeat of the Empire fleet did not stay secret for long. Across the galaxy, signals spread faster than fear. Empires, alliances, and neutral worlds all received the same reports. A human warship had stopped an Imperial fleet without destruction. Rulers gathered in hidden chambers and high towers. Old maps were opened, and old assumptions were questioned. For centuries, the Galactic Empire had been the final authority. Now that image was broken. Smaller species felt something new, hope. Worlds that lived under Empire pressure watched closely. Humans had done what no one else could. Trade routes shifted almost overnight. Empire checkpoints went quiet. Human patrols appeared without warning, not to conquer, but to observe and protect. Admiral Karth was taken to a secure human vessel. He was not chained or harmed. He was given water, light, and time to think. This confused him more than any weapon. Human commanders spoke calmly. They explained nothing in detail. Only one truth was made clear. The age of unchecked Empire expansion was over. Across space, more human ships revealed themselves. Not massive fleets, just enough to be seen everywhere at once. Each appearance carried the same silent message. We are here, we have always been here, and we are watching. Some alien leaders resisted. They sent fleets toward human-controlled zones. Those fleets never fired a shot. They were stopped, disabled, and sent back intact. Others chose diplomacy instead. They opened channels, asked questions. Human responses were brief but respectful. Balance, safety, and limits were the only goals. The Galactic Empire struggled to respond. Its leaders argued and blamed one another. Military strength no longer guaranteed control. Fear had replaced confidence. Citizens across Empire space noticed the change. Taxes dropped. Patrols withdrew. Oppressed systems felt pressure ease. The Empire was retreating without announcing it. Human observers recorded everything, not for revenge, but to ensure patterns did not repeat. They had learned patience through survival. Admiral Karth finally understood the greater picture. Humans were not replacing the Empire. They were removing the idea that one power could rule all. That was the real threat across the galaxy. Historians would later write about this moment, not as a battle, but as a shift. The instant dominance lost its meaning. Human ships continued their quiet patrols, appearing when needed, disappearing when not, never announcing arrival or departure. Fear slowly turned into respect, then into caution, then into acceptance. The galaxy was learning to live with a silent guardian, and far beyond known space. Human engineers continued their work, not building bigger weapons, but ensuring no one would ever rule through fear again. The balance had shifted, not through war, but through control, patience, and presence, and everyone knew this was not the end, it was preparation. A new galactic reality. The galaxy did not return to normal. It changed quietly, slowly, and forever. Old borders still existed, but power no longer meant control. The Galactic Empire pulled its fleets back, not in defeat announced by words, but in silence that everyone could see. Systems once guarded by force were now empty. Across many worlds, people looked up at the stars. They felt fear at first, then relief. The Empire's shadow was fading. Human ships appeared only when needed, never in large numbers, never with threats. Their presence alone was enough. Admiral Karth was eventually released, returned to his people unharmed. His warning spread faster than any order. Humans were not conquerors, they were watchers, guardians of balance, keepers of limits, and that made them more dangerous than tyrants. Other species began to change their behavior. Aggressive expansion slowed. Secret weapons programs were abandoned. No one wanted human attention. Trade became safer. Borders became quieter. Small worlds began to grow without fear. The galaxy started to breathe again. Inside hidden human stations, leaders met. They did not celebrate. They did not boast. They planned carefully. Human history had taught them one lesson clearly. Power must be controlled. Visibility must be limited. And silence could be stronger than fear. The warship that started everything returned to nothingness. Not destroyed, not moved, simply gone. Its disappearance was just as sudden as its arrival, and that terrified the galaxy even more, because now everyone knew humans could appear anywhere, anytime. Legends began to spread, stories told in spaceports and council halls, about the day reality broke and an empire froze without a battle. Children of many species learned a new truth, that strength did not always shout, that the quiet ones could be watching, and that patience could defeat armies. Far beyond known space, human engineers continued their work, perfecting systems no sensor could detect, preparing for threats that did not yet exist. They did not seek war, but they accepted its possibility, because humanity had learned, peace survives only when guarded. The galaxy entered a new age, an age without a single ruler, an age of limits and balance, an age shaped by invisible hands, and somewhere, in folded space beyond sight, human warships waited, silent, unseen, ready, because if the galaxy ever forgot the lesson, if empires rose again through fear, humans would not announce their return. They would simply appear, and reality would break once more.